Hi, my name's Tim Spragg and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Vasco Solutions. So we are a freight and emissions management system that allows ship owners to not only manage their voyages from front to back, but also actually manage their emissions for actually before and during and after those voyages. So it gives them the ability to view from a forward perspective. A little bit about myself. I began my career back in the 90s on the Futures Exchange in London, wearing a funny coloured jacket and shouting at a lot of people, before moving to an oil trading company where I was actually shouted at, but I actually experienced all aspects of the company, from back office, middle office, front office, trading, and also shipping. So I got a good view of exactly what happens in terms of a life cycle of a trade, the amount of fuel that's produced, the amount that you're moving around. I moved to Asia in 2005, where I joined a shipping company. So I've actually experienced, again, more the Asian-focused brand in terms of the shipping side of things, and also developed Vasco systems back in 2020, because I did see a gap in the market, and that's the solution that we're trying to actually become a lot better at and actually solve that problem.
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm the CFO and co-founder for Vasco. I've got about 20 years experience in the maritime industry. Most recently, I spent 15 years as CFO of a large energy trading and ship owning company. Now, during my tenure with that company, I estimate that we transported about 150 million tons of product around the world. And to do that, we would have burnt about 6 million tons of fuel oil. And guess what? That 6 million tons of fuel oil equates to 18 million tons of carbon dioxide. I'll say that again. 18 million tons of carbon dioxide emitted into the atmosphere. Tim and I think it's time for the shipping industry to do better in terms of reducing its emissions. And if it can save some costs at the same time, so much the better. And that's what the Vasco offering is here to do.
So, I mean, there's no doubt now, all the news stories we're reading at the moment has climate change, climate effect. You know, the US put a new bill through just today with regards to putting money into solving this problem. And the International Maritime Organization, or the IMO as it's referred to, they've actually aimed to put in these limits to halve carbon emissions by 2050. So these limits are introduced, so therefore the amount of carbon dioxide is measured per voyage. China have proposed actually a model, a sustainability model, which will actually reward a cleaner voyage. So therefore, if you're burning less fuel, you're burning less carbon emissions, and therefore you're actually going within those limits and getting rewarded for it. If you're over those limits, then obviously you're going to get punished and fined. And there's talks of carbon tax coming in as well at this point in time. Currently, there's no commercially available voyage management system, so that's what manages the voyages from front to back, that also can manage emissions and look at it from a forward perspective and during that. So to give you a bit of context, if a vessel is steaming at an economical speed or within those IMO limits and within those carbon emissions targets, they will actually save about $1.6 million in bunker fuel costs per vessel per year. Now, with that, if you think COSCO, for example, one of the biggest ship owners in China, they've actually got 1,408 ships. So 1.6 million per vessel, 1,408 ships, do the maths on that, that's billions, just in fuel savings. And not only fuel savings, you're also saving the world by reducing your carbon emissions. So what we've developed is a first-in-class software-as-a-service business model. So we get per user per month. We have 6 modules. So again, you can buy the modules individually, or you can actually buy them as the full suite. It really is entirely up to the customer. But having that flexibility has a good impact on change management. In terms of change management in the company, using new systems, it's always a difficult thing. But with the way that we've done it, it's a lot easier to do from that point of view.
So the global ship owning industry is distributed around the world, but with heavy concentrations both in East Asia, in Europe, and in the USA. We're going to reach out to all of those owners, but we're also going to leverage our industry contacts amongst firms such as shipbrokers, amongst the banks and industry agencies. But also, based on our experience, we know that many of those owners are using multiple information systems, many of them quite old, many of them fragmented. Very few of them can handle emissions data at all, and most of them, all of them, cannot handle emissions data before the voyage happens. It cannot handle advanced management. So how do ship owners make better decisions about managing their carbon, about controlling their costs? The Vasco platform offers a solution. If we look at the current voyage management system market, it's dominated by a single incumbent, but we can also see that half of the industry chooses either to use less comprehensive systems or even no system at all. So that tells us that many users' wants and needs are not really being met. This market is ripe for disruption, and the Vasco system, which is built on better, more modern, more user-friendly tech, will address this market first of all. However, by placing the Vasco VMS at the heart of the commercial management of each ship, we also put ourselves into pole position to become the aggregator of choice for the multiple streams of data that each and every ship generates on each and every voyage. So that's a market in excess of $1 billion US. It's high margin. Taking Vasco into the big data space increases our addressable market by a factor of about 12. That's our long-term vision. That's going to be Vasco 2.0. But for today, as we say in the shipping industry, we're finished with engines. We'd like to thank you very much for your attention, and we look forward to speaking to you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.